Hi everybody, for those of you new to the channel, I'm Teresa Perrin and I want to discuss ATXI with you because right now we are starting to see a short squeeze that has continued into the after hours. If you follow me on Twitter, I called this out this morning, well below $2. I think it was around like 140 or 150. At any rate, I called it out again a second time before $2 and then let people know that I thought it was going to continue making moves in the after hours, which is exactly what it's done. We are getting very close now to possibly even breaking through $3 in the after hours. Guys, there are gap fills all the way up into the 100 plus area that I will discuss in this video. So I believe there's a lot of room to the upside. The question is how far will it go and how far will it get there? Will there be pullbacks?
Chairwoman.
I'm not really sure because right now what we're seeing in this market is a lot of shorts starting to cover, guys. Things are looking very, very positive in this market. Now the question is this a bull rally still in a bear market, or have we actually found the bottom and starting to move up? And I think it's too early to really determine that. So, you know, use caution and just be careful and remember to take profits along the way. The worst thing you can do is have a green trade turn red. Okay. If you sell, just remember you can always buy back in. And I'm not just talking about with ATXI, I'm talking about with any trade that you get in right now. Now is not the time to be diamond handing, in my opinion, unless of course you're investing for a 5 to 10 year time frame and you've been dollar cost averaging along the way. So let's take a look at what's happening with ATXI. Okay guys, so I started prepping this video shortly after market close. Like I said, it is up significantly more. At last check, it was breaking through 272, and I believe that it's likely going higher from the looks of the chart at that point. But anyways, as of the time I took the screenshot, we were up 60.35% today and an additional 22.17% in the after hours. Now guys, I know that seems a lot, but if you look at the 5-year chart, we have been beat down very hard. Now that being said, you know, if we get a pullback, that would be the time to enter, in my opinion, unless you see it continuing to run and you want to take the risk of jumping in. But I would urge you to be very, very cautious about doing that. The worst thing you want to do is buy too high and get stuck being a bag holder. Just because, you know, there's gaps to fill that we'll discuss in just a minute doesn't mean it necessarily is going to fill them. Now, technically, we're showing a very strong bullish signal, and we are showing a short-term move to the upside. Now, we've been in a downtrend for many, many years on the stock with occasional breakouts, so we're still showing medium and long-term downward movement, and that will get adjusted if we continue to move higher day after day until it, you know, breaks out of, you know, that downtrend that we're in. So you just have to be patient with that, but right now it's showing that we will continue to move higher. Here's where things get interesting, in my opinion. Institutions have increased their shares by 5.52% in the past month. So they currently own 12.82% of the stock, and insiders own 2.44% and have also increased their ownership in the past month. Corporations own 16.12%, and others, meaning you and I and other retail investors, own 68.62%. This stock does not have an options chain, which can be very bullish as it's harder for them to short. Oh, you know what I realized? I just want to look at numbers real quick. One sec.
But how the heck did it get cheaper than bleach? Now, I am less sanguine about this.
Normally, I take a screenshot of today's volume, and for some reason, I either didn't include it or didn't do it. I remember doing it, so that's kind of strange. But anyways, the average volume is normally 1.13 million in this stock, and today it traded 19.66 million shares. So, as you can see, that was like 19 times higher than normal, right? Absolutely unbelievable. That's huge volume, especially considering, guys, that the free float is only 3.9 million, and there's only 4.78 million shares outstanding. Now, I know that several months ago they had done an offering, and I am not sure if that has been accounted for in this, but whether it has or it hasn't, this is a very, very small float, which is another reason why it can move very, very quickly. I do believe at some point the stock has had a reverse split as well, although I could be wrong on that. But it seems like the price of it was awfully high, and generally you see that in stocks that had a reverse split. So that's my thesis on why I think that is, but I'm not 100. Oh, I see an S here. Trying to find out right now. I see an S, so I do believe reverse split 1 for 15 on 9/23/22. So it did. Now I am noticing a pattern too with a lot of stocks that did have reverse splits that they are moving. So this is something that we should definitely be keeping an eye on as far as trends go, because you may start to see more of that.
Any good news on this front is buttressed by the seeming
Now, right now, I want you to grab a pen and paper, if you could, for just a second, or pause this video and do that, because ATXI has gap fills that you should be mindful of, from $4.24 to $6.14, from $10.50 to $12.54.
Of course,
from $16.50 to $62.55, and from $122.60 to $158.70. And for those of you that follow me on Twitter, there are a lot of fake accounts, and sometimes people actually tag me with the right spelling, and I noticed that they're commenting on an account that's not mine, that somebody stole my tweet to, reposted it as if it was their own with my fake image being me. So while you see this up here, make sure it's really me that you're following. That's the spelling of my name, where you see Teresa Perrin and the @Teresa_Perrin. And be careful, because they just change one letter slightly usually, and that's how people get tricked and trapped by these people. And guys, I will never ask you for money or to contact me. So if you're getting messages from somebody, I assure you it is not me, and it is a scammer. So please be mindful of that. And if you follow anybody else on YouTube, it's not just me they target all of us, and it's because they're horrible people that try to scam others, and it's disgusting. But no matter how many times I delete comments, whether it be on YouTube or be here, they just keep popping back up, and it's very, very difficult. It would be a full-time job to just try to get rid of them all. So please be mindful. Anyways, going back to this, those were the gap fills. Now, here's where things get interesting, guys. I'm seeing a pattern lately. When the short interest on Fintel is low, yet we're having a short squeeze, because I assure you that's what's happening right now. Whether that's because of the insane amount of naked shorting that's happening or what, I'm not quite sure, or if it's just because Fintel only shows us self-reported short interest, right? So, that being said, I am seeing that a lot of stocks that show a low short interest are the ones that actually end up squeezing, which is quite interesting. So please take Fintel information as well as Ortex with a grain of salt, because remember, it's only as good as the information that they receive, and shorts, unless they're in a pension fund, are not required to disclose their short position, and they certainly aren't disclosing their naked shorts. If you haven't checked out my video on Helbiz, whether or not you're invested in it, I highly recommend that you watch it, because it is excellent, and a lot of DD that I did this weekend on shorts, because Helbiz is under short attack, as well as a lot of these other stocks right now. So I would suggest you watch it, because you might learn a thing or two. But anyways, going back to the short interest of 2.91%, I don't believe it, but that's what they're claiming. And right now, earlier today, we were down to 0 shares available to borrow. Then it went up to 3,000 available. I wouldn't be surprised if at some point it's back down to 0, guys, because because this is very, very difficult for them to short once it gets at this point and the amount of volume that's on it comes in. And this I find odd, and I think it's just weird, not right, because the short interest, or the cost to borrow rather, looks like it's gone down slightly, because it was 95.04% over the weekend, came up to 95.80 max, but then 76.23 on the latest. So for 2 weeks it's been much higher. Why would it come down today of all days when things are moving? Unless nobody wants to borrow it because they know they're going to get smoked. That's a possibility too. But anyways, failure to delivers do not come into play in the stock at this time, which is another thing that I am questionable of, because clearly it's a very, very small float, and they most certainly will be coming into play now based on today's volume of 19 million when the float is showing at only 3.9, but I do remember an offering quite a while back, so I'm not sure if that's accurate because I don't remember whether that was before or after the split. But at any rate, even if there was an offering and say it was 5 million shares or something, that would still be under 10 million shares, which is a very small float. And today, 74% of the total volume was in the dark pool. So when you see, I think I skipped this, but when you see that today, 52.28% of the total short pool volume was shorted. The volume in the dark pool was shorted 52.28%. So that's half of 74% of all the volume, right? So do you think the short interest is really as low as what they're claiming? Absolutely, positively, 100% not. However, this is the highest that they have shorted in the past 2 weeks, because as you can see, it's been between 21.75 and prior to today, 43.94%. So it's gotten much, much less. Likely shorts were trying to fill their position when it got down into that $1 range. And then it was a technical breakout that caused this. There's no news article that I can find, but I did look at the technicals and see that it's doing a technical breakout. And the technicals are looking like it's going to continue moving upwards, in my honest opinion. However, that being said, we have ran quite a bit, so don't be shocked if it gets a slight pullback first before another breakout. However, it may not, because this, again, appears to be a short squeeze to me. And I do believe that they probably really, really over-leveraged themselves with the shorts and the naked shorting that went on in this play. Because I do remember this being a fast, heavy mover that went up to like $17 the last time it squeezed. So please be mindful of that. And if you get a pullback, even if it's just a small one and it starts to move higher, when you get the pullback, that's where you guys want to find your entries. Take a look at the chart and draw out your support and resistance levels. And, if it doesn't get through its next resistance, then you can expect that pullback probably down to the level of support, or, if it's angling, where it would pull back to. Draw out your wedges and stuff if you see them forming too. Anyways, guys, that's what I got for you today. So I would definitely have ATXI on your radar. And if you do trade it, I wish you the best of luck. Thank you so much for watching. Oh, if you could smash that like button for me, I'd greatly appreciate it.